Remember when Peter Hitchens asked why atheists don't want God to exist?
Why is it, ladies and gentlemen, they so much want there not to be a God? Why would you want there not to be a God? Why would you want to live in a purposeless chaos in which none of your actions had any significance, in which there was no hope of justice, in which the lives of all those whom you loved ended abruptly at death and had no further significance? Why would you want, desire, actively wish to live in a universe as disgusting as that?
Well, Christopher Hitchens has a similar question.
Why do you want to arrive at a terminus of unfreedom where there is a celestial authority upon whom all things depend and from which all things flow? Why do you want that, and how on earth do you know that there's any case to be made for its existence?
Not only do many theists want some other being to tell them how to live and what to believe, they even sometimes seem hostile to the idea that we could come to our own understanding of things. They insist, and seem to prefer, that some things will always remain a mystery to us. Here, Wolpe explains what he means by mystery.
Mystery means those things that by the very nature of the world are unfigure-outable, no matter how bright we are, no matter how hard we work at it.
How do you know that they're unfigure-outable?
Well, you're asking...
I prefer that over incomprehensible.
You're asking no in a way that I'm not willing to concede is the proper way to describe religious conviction. It's like saying to me, how do you know that love exists? Or how do you know that another human being is beautiful? Or how do you know that, I don't know, that these lights are a pageant of gorgeous colors? The answer is you don't know it.
The mistake that I think Wolpe is making here is to assume that these subjective reactions like love and beauty are facts about the world rather than facts about oneself. To say that something is beautiful is to say that it is beautiful to someone. It is a description of a reaction to a thing rather than a description of a thing. Love, for example, is a kind of experience. It's not as appropriate to say that it exists as it is to say that it occurs. Anyone who has ever felt love has as much reason to believe that love occurs as they have to believe that any other kind of event occurs.
The other way about, how do you know the mystery won't be solved one day?
Because it's not a mystery of a question that's solvable. It's like saying, how do you know that the mystery won't be solved? That you have an ineradicable sense that the world is wondrous. I don't know how you would even think about solving such a mystery.
Why would you think that neuroscience could never account for that? That seems like it's exactly the kind of mystery that neuroscience could tackle. I know some folks will say that this is the hard problem of consciousness, but how do you know this problem is insoluble? That's not to say that every problem we have is soluble, maybe some aren't. But I don't see how you can determine that a question we currently don't know how to solve will remain unsolved forever, or is inherently insoluble. And even if there are unanswerable questions, that just means there is a limit to what we can know. It in no way means that the supernatural exists. Wolpe seems to think some things are mysterious, therefore God, or some things don't seem comprehensible, therefore God. It should be obvious that this doesn't logically follow.
Non-meter of solace.
Worse, you're a misanthrope because you're not sympathetic to people's need for religion.
I say in my book, available at fine bookstores everywhere, that as long as I don't have to hear about it, I don't mind what people believe. If they say, well, thanks to Joseph Smith and his gold plates, I have real faith now, and I've got a family, and I have friends, and I have a real system, and so on, I say, fine. Just don't come to my front door with it. Don't ask for a tax break for it. Don't ask my children to be taught it in the schools.
Did you sign up tonight thinking you wouldn't hear about it?
And I asked the question in the book. People think they have a personal relationship with the Creator, and they're the possessors of a wonderful secret. It must feel, I've never felt it, but I presume it feels great. Why doesn't it make them happy? They're not happy. They can't be happy until everyone else believes it too.
I don't care what people believe as long as they believe it, as William James said, at their own risk. I am not an anti-theist. Hitchens, I think, is an anti-theist because he sees that many religious people are not content to merely believe at their own risk. Many religious people want everyone else to believe what they believe, and many even wish to enshrine the religious rules into the law and force everyone to obey them, even those who don't believe in their religion.
I want to just, as a coda to this, when you say that we shouldn't take orders, I just want to remind remind you of a long history. For example, the abolition of slavery was almost entirely the work of people who believed they were taking orders from something higher than societal orders. Wilberforce in England, here, you know, Beecher and John Brown and so on, they believed they were doing God's work by abolishing slavery. And it's interesting that the abolition of slavery was a Christian movement.
Those who defended slavery were also Christians, and they used the Bible to justify it. People who say that Christians abolished slavery say it as though they think that abolishing slavery is an idea that is in some way inherent in Christianity or in Christian morality. But if the abolition of slavery is such a Christian idea, why did Christians practice it for hundreds of years? Why is it that it took until well after 1,000 years into the development of the Christian religion for the abolition movement to gain momentum if it's something that was inherent to it from the beginning?
I suppose it is somewhat to the credit of some Christians that in the waning decades of thousands of years of slavery that were biblically mandated, some of them belatedly joined things like the American Anti-Slavery Society, stars of which were Thomas Paine, Benjamin Franklin, non-believers, right? Whereas to the last day of the Confederacy, the flag of the Confederacy said Deo Vindice, God on our side. And every justification for that slavery came from the Bible, where indeed it's not hard to find it.
We're going to take